money buy houses and lots. Poor houses and lots of whiskey. All right, what's the first one? Go ahead.
Silent Adventure is one of my top favorite movies.
I can't help that.
Can you share a story about making that? Was it very difficult? Did you appreciate the ending since you lived and all?
Yes, let me tell you about making motion pictures. Everything is difficult, you know, until you do it. And after it's done, you kind of pat yourself on the back and say, boy, wasn't that easy? But it's not easy. It's something that has to be approached, and it's done right. Boy, it sounds like $1 million, and boom, that's the best thing you can possibly do. What more can you want, you know? And Poseidon was hard, working with Shelley Winters. Unavoidably, she was a wonderful bitch. But nice lady. And I tell you, we had a ball, and she was playing with that wonderful guy who played her husband. And they were playing gin. Every time they'd finish up a scene or do something, they'd sit down and play gin to pass away the time. And she owed him about $725,000 at the end of the picture, which she never paid. But we enjoyed it, and it was fun, and it was a lot of hard work, 18 solid weeks of it, and then I went up, and they said, it was on a Friday that I found out that I was going to make Emperor of the North. So I had a Saturday off, and a Sunday I flew up to Portland, Oregon to start a picture, Emperor of the North with Lee Marvin. If you haven't seen that one, that was a bitch. That was a hard one because we were working on a train, and the train was moving, and you had to watch yourself or you were dead. Period. Anything else?
If there's any questions, we've got a microphone over here in the aisle if you want to make a line.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but you're the moderator, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
See, you didn't even give me a chance. Go ahead, moderator.
That's all I need.
So,
Okay.
what's up? Oh, you can't start? Oh, I see.
Try again. Okay, thank you. First of all, I loved you in Red. I thought that it was a great little part in there. And I was just wondering, I know you've been doing a lot of voice acting in recent times. How does it compare to traditional acting to you?
How do I avoid acting?
That's good.
Now, that's different. I'll tell you something about voice acting. You know, people say, well, I'm going to use my voice. Hey, it's easy. It's not that easy. It's very hard because your voice becomes the actor. And while we were making, what is it I make? Oh, SpongeBob. I came across the word evil, and it came out, evil! And I said, Jesus, can you hold it? I said, sure. Do it again. Evil! I said, that's it, you got the part. You see, your voice does it for you. Your voice does it. It's not that hard. It's not that hard once you get onto it. But once you start, what am I trying to say? It's hard. Hard. Okay?
Hi, Mr. Borgnine. How are you? I just want to say it's a pleasure to see you. I love your work as a SpongeBob. It's a real joy to watch the program.
I'll tell you what. I'm a little hard of hearing. I've got ear things on here that I can't hear with. But I appreciate your efforts and everything else, and you got to appreciate mine because I'm trying like the son of a gun to listen to you, you know what I mean? But I can't make out all of you, so whatever it is, you'll tell me.
Sure.
And you go on from there. What do you say now? Hey, I appreciate it too. You know why? You know why? Kids. Kids get the biggest charge. Every time I open my mouth and I see a little one come by, you know, and then I said, I give the email. Where'd that come from? You know? I can't believe it. And I tell them, hey, I'm looking. You're the what? No, it's a voice that does that. It's a man that does that. You're not the. Well, they don't believe it half the time, but you know, you got to go with it.
Well,
but anyway, go ahead.
Sure. What I was going to say, my main question is that SpongeBob is the kind of show where really kids and adults and everybody can watch alike. I've noticed, at least, you know, from growing up, that Sunday morning cartoon used to be very popular and used to have that, you know, feeling where you could watch it and enjoy it. And it seems like the suspension of disbelief is not there as much as it would. Do you think that we can get back to that era? Because kids seem to be growing up way too fast.
Was it good? And why not? That's what it's made for, right? It's made for kids 9 to 95. I'm only 94.
God bless you.
Next man.
I don't even know where to start with your career, but I got to go with the Wild Bunch question.
The Wild Bunch.
You've worked on a lot of sets. You've worked with easy collaborators and difficult collaborators. Where does Sam Peckinpah fit in there?
Sam Peckinpah was the kind of director, you know, you'll read all about him and you'll say, this is the worst man in the world. You know something about Sam Peckinpah? He was never really understood. He was the genius behind the Wild Bunch. He gave his version of what the West was really like. And the West in those days was a very hard thing to come by. You know, you live by your wits alone. And if you didn't have the good wits to go along with it, you didn't last long. And that's the way he played it. And believe me, Sam knew his West like no other person in the world. He was that kind of a director and a wonderful guy to boot. He'd just sit back and watch his professionals go to work. And every now and then he'd say, well, try this or do that. And we'd do it, boom, bam, boom, and he'd say, that's enough, okay, that's fine. And we always got home at an early time at night to go out and have a couple of tequilas and beers. Hey, man, we were living. And we made it all in a place called Parras in Mexico. The place was so old that they were still showing Tom Mix pictures over there. Remember Tom Mix?
I know the name, but I don't. Thanks very much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, you're known primarily as a superb character actor, but occasionally character actors do get to play the lead, and your most acclaimed lead role was as Marty. And Marty had been performed earlier by Rod Steiger on television, and I was just wondering, how do you prepare for a role that somebody else has done so well and still make it your own?
I didn't see his version. They wanted to show it to me, and I said, what for? And they said, well, you know, to get an idea. I said, I have my own ideas. And it came across that way, I think. The hardest part we had, believe it or not, we were standing in 2 o'clock in the morning up on one of the great big highways up there in the Bronx. And the producer, director, and the writer were all disagreeing as to how to play that certain role. And the role was, I had just left a girl, remember? And I'm walking along and I'm full of every, you know, the old P and V, you know what I mean? and I didn't know what to do, you know? And they're all arguing now, what do we do here? What do we do? And what happened? I said, listen, you mind if I put in my 2 cents? He said, well, what do you want? And I said, well, let me try it on my own. So they looked at me, you know, like I was another creature from another world or something. And I said, okay, go ahead. They said, okay, try it. So I'm working back and forth, and I'm full of the old, you know, happy dog, and I'm looking up at this sign, and suddenly I went, kaboom! I hit the sign, and oh, taxi! They kept it in. That's the way it played. And they were very happy with it. Nobody even said thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Borgnine, I'm going to ask the question that basically everyone here wants to ask you. What was it like playing Mr. Denslow in the classic movie Basketball?
The classic movie.
Basic what?
Basic ball?
Basketball. You saw that picture? I used to have a bus one time, a bus motorhome. And I was quite away from home, and I was going to stay overnight in this wonderful place. I say wonderful place. You tie up where the lights were, you know, in front of a big old grocery store. And I saw this pizza place over there, and these kids are all around, and it's a 40-foot bus motorhome, you know, and I'm pretty good. So I finally stepped up, and they looked at me. Never said a word. And then suddenly they all took off like crazy. I went over and was sitting in a restaurant, and as I came out, they were all waiting for me. You did basketball. So don't shoot me, please. Oh, it's the greatest picture we've ever seen. The worst I was ever in. I'll tell you how they gauge it. How much money do they make? That's the way it goes, kid. Good, bad, or indifferent, how much money do they make? Unfortunately. But no, it was a good picture. But a lot of people enjoyed it, you know? I didn't. I can still see that hot dog coming up out of my mouth. Ugly. Next!